back to our study in 1 John 5, 1 through 5. Today we're looking at verse 5, and I entitled this, Victory is Exclusive. There's only one way. So take note of his last sentence here, John's last sentence. He asks a rhetorical question, which John has done before. Who is it that overcomes the world except the one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God? The answer that he's looking for is, of course, no one. No one overcomes the world except the one who believes in Jesus, and they believe that Jesus is the Son of God. There's no one that overcomes the world except for those that believe that. This is a very exclusive claim here. This eliminates all their ways to God except for through Jesus. But John's readers already knew that because Jesus' own words that they read in John's gospel. See, Jesus said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Whoever hates me hates my Father also. If you look at every conversation of Jesus in the book of John, you will find that he leaves no room for other ways to God. Since he is the radiance of the glory of God and the exact imprint of his nature, and he upholds the universe by the word of his power, what other way could you get to God? By some man? By some other book? It doesn't make any sense. That's what John's been arguing here. John brings it down and says, okay, he is the only way to do this. If you have to believe in Jesus in order to get to the Father. If you want to know God, if you're born again, you have to believe that Jesus is the Son of God. You have to believe that. There's no other way. So the inclusivity of all faiths together, or the idea that all roads lead to God, is one of the stupidest ideas Satan has tricked people into believing. How does that make any sense? It's easier to convince people of this. At first, you can convince them that God is not a person, but he's a force, right? He's some kind of mystical force that we just don't know. If God is just a force, then you can get to know it in different ways, because God would be like gravity, which we can get to know by different means. But if God is a person, then not all beliefs about him are valid or equal. Think about it. Say I want to get to know Jim over here. And so I asked one of my friends, hey, what's Jim like? And he says, well, Jim is 4'7" with brown hair and weighs 500 pounds. And he's a woman. Okay, so I go and ask my other friend, who's Jim? Well, Jim is a man about 6 foot, 200 pounds, and has blonde hair. Now, someone is wrong in this scenario, right? These both can't be true at the same time. But what if Jim sent me a photo of himself and a complete bio? And he sent me a nice letter about his likes and dislikes and about his personality. Why would I believe these other two friends? Why would I believe my friends if I have something directly from him that tells me who he is? I got a picture of him. I know what he looks like now. Why would I believe these other two? What if you go a step further and I can actually meet Jim? See what I mean? God is a person. He told us about himself in his word. And if we are born of God, then we know him. We are his children who will one day reside in his house. And so all these ideas that you can, every way to Christ is the same, doesn't make any sense. You can't put that together. It doesn't, I mean, if he is a person, then he is a person. He has certain attributes. He has certain characteristics. He thinks in a certain way. He is a certain way. And so I can't just believe whatever I want and then expect that person to be like, oh, okay. It doesn't make any sense. Like, how would Jim in this scenario feel? Like, I believe that you are, obese and you smell and, you don't take care of yourself. And I've never met you. I never talked, well, but what if you just walked up to him and said the same thing? But clearly that's not the case. That would be offensive. No person would be like, oh, thanks for completely misreading who I am. What if Jen turns out to be a 10-year-old girl? It's like, why? And her name's not Jim, it's Jane. But you still believe that, oh, it's Jim. He's 200 pounds and blonde haired. You just, oh, you're a 200-pound blonde haired man. I think little Jane, she would be upset. She would be offended. And rightfully so, because she's a person. And you can get to her, know her, by looking at her, by talking with her. You know, you can, see her. You can smell her, see if she's smelly or not. So that's the same thing with God. We can get to know him by his word. He's told us about himself. We don't need to, there's no, all these roads lead to God. Doesn't make any sense then. So inclusivity in that sense, in faith, is dumb. It is a dumb idea that doesn't make any sense. Unless you're talking about, unless you believe that God is not a person, and you believe that he's just some kind of, mystical spirit ghost, kind of without personality, without personhood, just some kind of mystical force. If you believe that, well, then you don't believe in the God of the Bible. So that's my kind of take on that. So come back and we'll look at the conclusion of our study next time. So come on back for that.